Do we have a vote on 2%? Okay.
So with the 2%, it leaves that amount in reserve, which gives us a total reserve of $4.2 million. And then quite a couple of lingering items on the notes. The VA contract. 2%. Yeah.
Anybody have anything?
Well, I would like to bring up my item, the 358, 950. I know we'd already voted to put it on the PET watch list, but we would like to reevaluate that. I didn't find 4 or 5 years ago the
Supported office.
right. I didn't find that, but I thought if we looked at what I've been stating on paper, that might give us an idea of what we're trying to say. So I have a little spreadsheet here. If you want to pass it around.
Do you have a motion to receive document?
So moved.
Second.
Let's see. I guess you need more than one, huh? Let's see.
Yeah, we need one for everybody.
Okay, let's see. See how many you got. Standing. I have. Have I got one? Is Kelly need one? Okay. Okay. Come here. Back in fiscal year 16-17, we started to use pay bands. And the first pay band that I come across was our starting salary was $2,127, and that is a clerk level 1 beginning salary. And then the next fiscal year it went to $22.17, next fiscal year $23.75, and then fiscal year 1920, $2,446, and then 2021 is $2,568, and then the current, which includes the 3% we were given back in July, is $2,645. So our starting salary currently is around $15.26. And like I said, this is our beginning clerk level 1 minimum. And then the HR department was able to furnish another county office, I don't know exactly which one, their starting salary was $17.60. And this is comparable, it's an office to office work environment. And if you look, that's $2.34 an hour. And then if you do the monthly, it's $406 a month. But then when you annualize it out, that's $4,872. So that's almost $5,000. This is the beginning rate. I don't know what other offices, how they progress, but our office, we have about 6 levels. We have clerk level 1, we have our team leaders, we have our supervising deputies, we have second deputies, first, second, and then the chief deputy. So, and within each of those bands, we have a minimum, mid, and max. And it goes from level 1, 2, and 3. So when we're starting our people off, our beginning people, at $15.26, while other people are starting theirs off, around $17. We'll just say $17 an hour.
But is that what everybody's doing, $17.60 an hour? Because I know we've got people lower than that.
Well, we're just trying to do a comparison, just trying to say we're still not where we need to be. There's a plan in place, but we still need help. We still need to be considered equal, fair. I just don't know how to say anymore. We just want your support in keeping us with the other offices and not to let us fall behind. Like it took us several years to even get where we are now. If we stop at this point, I feel like everything we've done so far has kind of been like, well, you're on your own now. Just manage with what you have. And we do really good at our budget. And and like, we don't have built into our budget the max level per, like, say clerk level 1. You know, we don't have that, because if we did, our budget would be over $1 million if we had it in our budget. So I just don't understand the need for raises is there, and not supporting that. That makes sense, because how else are we going to get our people raises if we don't ask for it?
I think we're all in that same boat.
So
How many employees in your office do you have at the starting level? Do you know?
I'm going to say, I looked at it, but I didn't, you know, it's around probably 6 or 7.
Okay.
It's not like half of our budget is not our starting salary.
Right.
No. And we have a progression where, you know, they start, and then like 3 months later they get evaluation. So at that time they are eligible for a pay raise. And then from that point on, I believe it's a 9-month evaluation. So we do have a progression.
Okay.
So
So if they make it that first year, after the 3 to 9 month, where are they sitting?
let me see. I believe after the first year,
Because you made it sound like they've got a 3 month and a 9 month.
right? They do.
The raise.
They
Performs in their first year, so.
here. Currently, that would put them after their first year, 2,924. Yeah.
A question that I have, so this is the difference of annualized, the difference 406.
Right.
And so 4872, you said there's 6 of those or 7 of those?
Yeah. Real
Okay.
well.
So where would is this specifically trying to raise the starting salary? The reason I ask is because if there's 7, for example, that's $35,000.
Right. But
So
the thing is, our pay levels are based upon our starting salary, so it would not just be our starting salary. It would be our pay band scale. And
Okay.
so it would be because we couldn't start our person who just started at the $17 rate, and then, you know, a person who's been here a couple of years, and they're making $17. So it would have to be
Well, this other county office that started at 1760, do you know what they are after a year? Because
No, I
are they
really
still
don't.
at the same, and
I
you guys
don't
are
know.
catching them up?
I was
During-
just told that to kind of do a comparison real quick. I don't know.
What I think, I mean, this kind of goes off of the discussion the other day. I think we've all tried to treat everybody's office fairly and their employees. That's why we did the catch up over 4 years. I would be supportive of looking at an updated salary study and bring somebody in, and we can see, because the sheriff, you guys have clerks.
yeah, I'm looking to see how many. Like our clerks start at 24, 56, 55 a month, and that could be doing fingerprinting, or that could be doing like front desk type work where they're kind of interacting with the public that comes in. Some of them could be doing basic investigative analysis. Could be various things. I'm looking to see how many. It probably affects, I'd say, 30-ish people, probably that base level 35. And so just as a point of reference for us, for example, our clerks start back right at your FY 1920 at 2456.
Brandon, you said it was 24.
2456, 55, yeah.
So I'm personally, I think if we're going to start looking at trying to, because this, and I appreciate you getting this information, but it's still, there's lots of holes there. I mean, this is the starting salary, but what are the top ends on in the middle range for this other county office versus your office? I mean, you guys may be higher than them. They may be spending more on the front end and less on the the back end and stuff. So if we're going to look at trying to equalize pays from one department to another, I think we should look at moving to have an updated salary study done, updated pay bands, and we all just operate within the pay bands and the salary study. I mean,
So according to ZipRecruiter, the average pay in the state of Oklahoma for a starting position is $31,954. Your 2645 annualized is 31,740 plus benefits. And what I will say is the benefits here far outweigh the benefits anywhere else. So even though we're $214 less than the average starting pay in the state of Oklahoma, I think we're probably in line with everything, and I'm more than willing to do a study, but I think that study may come back and say, you guys are pretty good, but you need to move to this banded deal, and this rate should go. So,
For the 300, I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
For the 380 something thousand, right? How many employees does that affect total, you know?
I really don't know, because
Okay.
we're still working with HR and
Okay.
revamping our pay band. So,
Okay.
but I know it would
Sorry, go ahead.
go a long way in getting where we need to be and want to be.
You said that you're wanting to move this hourly starting to 1550. Do you have a target what you're trying to hit for your starting?
Like I said, we're still working with HR and developing that. But she did give me the 17.60 an hour, so I don't know if that is a goal at this point. But I do know that we're going to have to do something to be able to keep our employees and to hire. So. All I know is all the money y'all have given us has really made a tremendous amount of, it's just really has helped us throughout the years. We could not be here where we are today without it. I mean, I'm very grateful.
I think what I've heard last week and then today is, I think there's question about exactly what is it. You've not done the study yet to determine whether it's 300,000. The 358 is the salary, and then the benefits added. The salary was the 300, but I think you said that you guys just use that because that was the last 4 years, so we increased 300,000 a year. So once you are able to go in and do your study and actually see what your plan looks like and have more targeted number, we might.
Well, I'm
I
afraid
think
that
I would be more comfortable
when we
there.
do that, it'll be a lot more than the 300,000. So.
Well, but we got to be a little bit careful because I think all of us in here, there may be one office, but that's starting at 1760. But we can't just look at starting because you're not wanting to just look at starting, or we would only be talking $35,000. To Brandon's point, you're talking about throughout your organization. And I don't know that 1760. I don't know what county office that is, but they may be higher than you in every aspect, every band top to bottom, but they could be lower in the top because they're using more of their salary dollars for their entry level to get them in. So it's almost punishing them if we're trying to increase everybody else's. We got to look at increasing them so that they can catch up on the top end. Does that make sense? So that's where I'm coming from on a salary study. If we really want to look at this, then we need to really look at it.
Do you all set your salaries, or do you rely on HR to provide those for you?
HR has been helping us.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because, for example, just taking the 300,000, on average, if that's an annualized rate of 48.72, for example, you're looking at, 60, 62 employees that it might affect. One thing that we found in our, we've been looking at salary studies. For example, if we were to raise, $2.34 an hour for our starting people, it's going to affect classifications 8 or 9 people above that because they're so close in general.
That's how ours is too.
So I guess where I was going with that is, and kind of to Cody's point, is that if it only affects 62 of your 100 and however many people that you have, then you've all of a sudden might have 62 people that are making more than maybe that next, 63rd to 80th person or whatever the case may be.
Well, we would work closely and we would do it fairly. We've been looking at this for years, so I think HR does a great job in helping us keep on that path.
Can anybody else speak to what your starting positions are like for the treasurer's office or assessor or county clerk?
Our starting salary for just
2,900.
Yes.
Okay.
29 for appraisers. 3. Right at 3.
3. Okay.
$15 an hour.
Okay.
My temps are $13.50 an hour.
Yeah, I'm sure we're all in the same boat.
Sounds good. The sheriff's
We'll be
office and
different.
the district guards kind of
That's
what we should want to see at the table. That's the uppity of it down, or not just kidding.
But to Brandon's point, and I appreciate your point too, if you raise on the lower, you may have to look at the above. When we're talking our entry level labor positions or temp positions at $15, $15.50, then you're getting, you have to start looking at your truck driver pay, your operator pay, because I mean, it all staggers up. And I do understand, I mean, we've got special revenue that, I mean, we're not just relying on general fund, they're paid out of special revenue, but it's still, we have to manage those funds to get our projects done, and we manage them. The biggest expense a lot of times is your salaries and your benefits and everything associated with that. And so we've got to manage those, and so we start our pay at a certain rate to be able to do that. But I mean, if we're wanting to look at it, then I think we need to look at it globally.
Amy, you have seen your employees over the plan that we did, plus, I mean, we're in our third or fourth year of being able to do COLAs and merit. So everyone has been receiving
Yes.
increases.
Oh, yeah, across the board. Last year, we got the 3 plus the 2, it went across the board.
Is the 2% merit something you can rework a little bit of your pay bands?
When we get
That's kind of at discretion, so I didn't know
Yeah.
if that's something that.
what we normally do is apply it to pay band. That's what we do. To keep it in.
Across the board, not on performance,
We,
or use it to kind of get the pay bands where you want it.
all of our raises are based on performance and
I'm super thankful for the percentage raises by all means, but kind of in Amy's defense, anytime we do a 3 or 2% across the board, it's obviously gonna increase that disparity between, because 3% of 2,500 a month and 3% of 3,000 is not the same, so then it kind of puts, further lag, so. Yeah, I suspect that might be part of for just lack of a better term, the original, like miscalculation. Again, I don't mean any disrespect that from the original 4-year plan to where we are now. When you tack on 4 and 5 and however many percent over the past 4 years, it's clearly gonna increase that divide.
And that's where, what I said the other day, we had a targeted number from the get-go, and now it looks like that's not correct. If I had the information on why it wasn't, and it may not be that it wasn't correct up front, it could be something to what Brandon's talking about. But if I had that information and you were done with your study and you could say, yes, this is what we need. The other day you said you didn't even know if you got this 300, that you may be asking for more parity next year. And I think that's what we want to, I mean, we thought we were done last year. So I think that's what we really need, is to know what is it? I mean, what's the dollar amount? Why is it? And then move forward.
I think you're asking us to ask what we think we will ever need in our salary budget. I don't think we can do that. If we did, we would have to ask for the max rate in every single,
Well, but Amy, 4 years ago, it was paid over 4 years. You guys said, this is what we need to catch up. We need this amount of money. And we said, okay, it wasn't hey, this is what we want to pay everybody, exactly what we want to pay them. I think all of us around the table would love to have, significantly more amount of funds to pay our employees, but it's not feasible. So we do with what we can. And you were in a position where your folks were behind. So it was hey, we need to catch up. And that's what we're talking about. Is you're saying now that after 4 years, you're still not caught up. We're saying, what do you need to catch up?
Would you be happy at the 17.60 an hour, I guess? Is that what you're asking? I mean,
Well,
is this your goal, since this is the example?
this was just an example.
Okay.
I'm not going to be the person to say this is what we want to do. My boss is not here to
Right.
correct me. I'm not going to, all we are trying to do is get in line with the other county offices and we are still not there. That's all our goal is to do. And if it has to come to a study, that a study takes time. I don't know how long a study will be. Right now, there is a need for us to increase our starting salary along with our other pay band levels.
It sounds like we have the information that we need to increase your starting salary. You got 7 individuals at this amount. We know that. So if there was the will to increase your starting pay to $17.60, I still think we would need to look at other departments that are below that. But that's a targeted number that we can actually look at. That's $35,000. But the other, it seems to me, and I could be completely wrong, but it seems like you just pulled 300,000 based on what you said, that you've not done an analysis on this yet. So I'm not comfortable moving forward on a number that's not targeted, that hasn't been analyzed. Like I said this the other day, you're right, it could be more than 300,000. And if it's more than 300,000 and that's what we need to do to make up the difference, then that's what we need to do. That's why I mentioned earlier, I'm in favor of doing a salary study so we can look at all of the offices and see where adjustments need to be made.
So at this time, we couldn't just do those 6 or 7 employees, because if we increase their rate at $17.60, someone who's been there, I don't know where the $17.60 falls in line with our other, say they've been there 2 years, we are going to create, discourse in our employees. So if we do the starting salary, we're going to have to do the other pay band levels as well. I just don't know what the plan is going to be at this time. So that's why we're asking for this money now, so we can start looking at it and getting it done.
Well, my question is, can you get us that study that you're talking about doing?
The one you're doing with HR.
Yeah, that way we have the numbers.
What if scenario?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where we are in that process. It's just right now we are during the budget season. I have shown that we are not in line with other offices. We are asking for
a other office.
Well, one other office that I don't know which one, but we're just asking for the money at this time. So.
What would it look like to get a salary study done? I mean, just to, is that something that would come through us, or that's something that would come
Do you
through?
hear me sigh?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Just the work and the money. No, it wouldn't happen overnight. I mean, when we did the MGT, it felt like it was almost a 6 to 9 month deal.
Wasn't that $300,000?
I don't remember. I know it wasn't cheap.
It wasn't cheap. I was thinking it was like $300,000 for some reason. It was something big. Was it not?
I don't remember.
Is it something that we could do internally, just looking at our own
Yes.
people?
Lambert will get right on that.
Did I say 3 years of retirement? I said 3 days.
See you later. 2 minutes.
Well, the problem is we don't know where everybody is now. We have a salary study from, was that in 07 or something like that? It was a long
It's been a
time ago.
while.
But HR, I know I mentioned this the other day, but HR has updated that annually for District 1 because our drivers, our operators, all of us are on a pay band, and it's based on that salary study that they just increase it based on cost of living. So I know we do have a pay band in the county. Now, whether it includes all the positions that everybody has in the county, I don't know that, but I do know it works for us. But if not everybody has been utilizing that, it doesn't necessarily do a whole lot of good right now because not everybody's targeted in there. So, but you could look at if there are slots for every position, each department could go in and slot their folks into that and see if everybody's where they need to be. That would probably be quicker than going back out. But I mean, a fresh salary study may be warranted at this point.
And I guess, of course, anything that's to be adopted here would have to be looked at again going forward into future budgets as well. That would be the new starting number working forward at that point.
Right.
Can I bring back my item for a vote at this time, or?
Anybody's welcome to make any motion, sure.
Do I say motion? I don't know what I say. Let's evaluate, the court clerk's $358,000 and whatever that was to, be approved this, September supplement, $950. At this time,
So your motion is to recommend
to the budget board.
to the budget
Yes.
board a transfer of $358,950 of the supplement to the court clerk's budget.
Right.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote since we had, last time it came down to every person's District 2.
I abstain. I still have questions and don't feel like I have enough information at this time.
District 3.
I'll abstain.
Yes.
Treasurer.
I'm a nay for now, but totally open to keeping it on the watch list with more information for sure.
Amy.
Yes.
Mike.
I'm gonna abstain as well.
I'm a yes. I am a yes, but I'm never gonna vote against, employee raises in any form, but I'm also really interested in helping anyone I can and making salary study happen.
I'm with Christie. I'm a no for now. And it's not that I'm against employee raises, it's just
Definitely not
I
that.
don't have
No, I
enough
don't.
information. I still don't have enough information. Motion fails.
Danny making 9 months.
You know, I was thinking.
How difficult would it be to get a running PO of every employee of Oklahoma County and just rank order them least to greatest and see what it would take to get everybody up to, using this number of 3051 at least at a minimum? Would it be difficult to just do that? I wouldn't think it would be.
Wouldn't be difficult.
I mean, your office, I think when Carolyn was still here, you guys were publishing salaries monthly, right?
Yes.
On the website. It's annually now, but you guys were doing it, updating it every single month before. So,
And if the number 15 million obviously is not real, it just at least gives us a starting point to see what's even attainable.
It's a list of all the employees and
Yeah.
it's done by salary, sorted, high to low.
But
I was just
would
thinking
you
more
need
for
the
FYI.
position on there as well, probably, right?
yeah, the problem is, and it's not just position, it's job description of that particular
How long?
position. Yeah, how long they've been here, yeah.
So for your example though, when you say 3,000, 2,900, 2,900, those are for entry level positions, or are those for, more advanced type skills? Because I just don't know what the job descriptions are for the different areas. Obviously all have specialized areas.
Obviously, we have several different departments, but for our real estate department, that would be like an entry level
Okay.
position.
And 2 years ago, we came in and set that standard at 2,900, which was an increase over the previous. But those are across the board, appraisers, staff, all of that. But we felt that we got better people
Quality,
applying
sure,
for quality.
of course.
we definitely did a better job of getting better people with that different level.
I mean, if anything, it's clearly brought to light that, that there's probably some deficiencies in some of the other, other areas. There's, well, not deficiencies necessarily, but at least higher starting wages in at least three of the 8 offices. So, which is, totally fine, but kind of gives us at least a starting point, I would think.
I think ultimately the way to, if we think that there's a problem there, it's going back out and it's gonna hurt for a little bit. It's gonna cost some money and it's gonna be a little time consuming on all of us, but going out for a fresh salary study, see where everybody is, but everybody would have to be on board to band all of their employees and keep it updated and keep everybody in there. If we get one department that doesn't want to do it, then it's going to throw the whole thing off. So we would have to be dedicated to sticking to it. But that's the way to ensure that everybody that's doing like work in the county is in that same band. Not everybody's going to be paid the exact same. There's going to be some differentiation, but you're in a band. So.
Amy, after your initial year, I know we already voted, but after the initial year of the 3-month and 9-month evaluation, then do you just go to annually unless their position changes and they get?
It goes from 9 and then an 18-month, there's an 18-month evaluation after the 9-month. So there is another step before just an annual.
And is it every 6 months after that or every year after the 18 months?
It's a yearly annual. That's how we have it set up right now.
So like I said last week, we have more flexibility. We have special revenue funds. Highway districts have more flexibility. You have special revenue funds. If you wanted to start a truck driver out higher rate, you could. And it's just based on the amount of money you bring in your special revenue fund. So it's not dependent on this group telling you how much you can start your, starting positions at. So we have more flexibility.
But you have employees that you have in your special revenue, your UCC fund.
Correct.
And they stay in there the entire year.
Yep.
Right? So you're still constrained by your budget. It's your UCC budget. You are constrained and you have to make sure that you're within there.
Correct.
It is a different budget, but it's the same principle. You're not floating around to be able to do raises or anything like that. You're doing your raises based on what you have available in that fund. And I'm not discounting that you may not need more money to get your folks where they need to be. And if you do, I'm completely supportive of it. I just want a targeted number so we know exactly where we're at. Because at this point, you can't tell us that if we give you the $358,000, that's going to solve your parity and that you may not need more next year, right? And that's where we're not solving the problem. When we were presented with this 4 or 5 years ago, there was a problem. There was a parity in pay. Let's catch it up, and we did the catch up, and that wasn't enough, is what you're telling us. I need to know what you need, how much is going to be enough for us to solve that problem. The problem of we want to give raises and all of this throughout the year, going forward, that's a separate problem than the pay parity. So that's what I need to know is what do we need to do to solve the problem so we're not still having an issue moving forward. Any other discussion on court clerk? If not, is there any other discussion on any other item? I know we've got highlighted the DA contract and the 2% merit. But we can take up any other budget related, supplemental budget related item as well.
On the 2%, I know in the past some offices had some issues making payroll in their special revenue accounts. Like, is that going to be an issue for anybody that we do a 2% this year? I don't think we contemplated doing any adjustments. You know how sometimes I think in some of the, even us for example, a couple of years there was money moved from the general fund over to an M&O account to try to offset some of the costs. I think the public defender was one of those. So if we were to do a 2% across the board, is that going to affect anybody's special revenue accounts where there's people paid out of there that's not included in that, the 800 something thousand that's.
Well, the public defender wasn't on this, it was on insurance because they don't get salary dollars from us.
Okay.
I think based on the past, the biggest concern about having the special revenue would be the sheriff's office. If you guys don't have an issue, I mean, I think we're all okay.
Danny, did we address your, I know we talked about it, but I don't know if we took any action.
Oh,
For those two positions for you?
we were okay with putting it on the watch list for sure. Yeah.
Watch list.
And actually, I think we can remove it from the watch list and we'll just absorb it this year and then maybe readdress it again next year.
Are you guys okay if I just put one item on the budget board agenda for all the watch list items? We don't need to have them vote that individually, right?
I don't think you need to put that on the budget board.
I meant that. You asked me to put it on the next agenda, I meant that, right?
Yeah, I think if we have an agenda item to place the following on the watch list and then individually
Then it's in the
list them.
attachment. Okay,
Well, not in the attachment, list them on the agenda.
listed on the agenda.
Yeah.
So Danny, you said this reserve amount number of 4.238, that does include the 2%.
It does, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so if we didn't do the 2%, you could add another 800,000 to that.
Okay.
Did you calculate the 2% retroactive to July or?
And was that 2%, was it refined based on taking out individuals that were maxed that would not qualify for the 2%?
Yes. Least was for us.
You usually do that. I certainly did. I just want to make sure.
How much did we put on the watch list for employee benefits? 'Cause didn't you add another 1.6 or 1 or something? I didn't write that down.
We've got a recommendation of one, adding 1 million.
Full amount.
I know, but
And then the other amount, I think it was 1.6, was gonna go in the watch list.
Hey Danny, can you pull the watch list back up?
yeah, I was gonna say the same.
Christie, I'm so glad you're here. The economic development increased request. Do we have bond funds available for that? The Tinker stuff, because
Tinker-
we just got property that we sold and that money should have probably gone to one of those bonds.
I think that is the original ballot title, and we've looked at it many, many times, or we would have been paying it from there, but it talks about capital, lane improvement, more actual projects in the actual ballot. We used to pay some of the chamber contract out of county bonds, 2004, I thought, out of the scrap metal that didn't have.
Right.
But the Tinker clearing, last I looked at it, it's strictly lane improvement, capital, unless you know some way to stretch it. Now, anytime we ask Gretchen, she'll defer to, it used to be Gary
Bond
Bush, and now
counsel.
it'd be Nate.
Yeah,
I mean, you
bond
can always
counsel.
run it past
Yeah, let's
Nate.
go ahead and,
Let's
can you
run
send me
that.
that? Do you have that?
The bond title?
Language?
The
Yeah, the bond
ballot?
title? Yeah, if you could send that to me and I'll send that over to bond counsel and have them take a look at it.
And something could have changed on what they're using their contract for, and, I mean, I know it's for Tinker, but.
Right.
Or they're tying it to Tinker, but.
Brandy, do you know if you guys have ran that contract yet for this year? For the chamber? For the chamber? It had been 200,000, this is
An additional, they
an
wanted to
additional
bump it to
100, so it'd be 300,000. I just don't recall if the contract has already been ran across the board. If it was, it would have had to have been 200,000, because that's all we would have had available to encumber. If that's the case, and we're gonna do an amendment for 100,000, then we got time to run the amendment until we figure out if we can use this $100,000 out of another fund. But if the contract has not been written yet,
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
I don't remember it going
Yeah.
across this year, but
And normally they come make a presentation every year.
Mhm.
I've just seen the letter where they bumped it up to 3. I haven't heard the reason behind increasing it by a third, but.
if we don't have a contract and they've not been here to formally ask for the increase in 100,000, then I guess we could just put this 100,000 on the watch list.
It's right there, wasn't it?
Well, I'm guessing their letter, I know they didn't come to a presentation. I kind of took the letter as pretty formal. It was
Yeah, the request was
for 3.
not only on the letter, but I know that they've met with us at least. Assuming probably other elected officials.
I mean, I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
it
they
was
made a
like-
formal ask. They just,
I mean,
I just haven't heard the back.
That was the presentation.
That's
February or March
For
or
what?
something. February, March, I mean, it was a long time ago.
That's when they usually do it, February, March. Some big things going on.
I mean, honestly, I'm fine either way. I mean, if we're gonna contract this, we're gonna have the money available. It's just a matter of when we're gonna run the contract, thus when the money needs to be available to encumber.
Don't they also, they pay at 6 months levels, so we pay half of the time. So I don't know if that gives you some flexibility
Well, we have to encumber the full amount though,
out of the
in that
contract.
contract. unless we did a 6-month contract and then followed up with another 6 month, but.
It's kind of hard when the BOCC hasn't approved it. It hasn't done price.
But it kind of works both ways. How are they gonna know how much to put on there until we?
Well, usually they do contracts. I mean, you have contract increases all the time. It doesn't come here for us to say, yeah, there's money, so.
Right.
I feel like it's kind of driven by the 3 commissioners.
What are you thinking over there, Miles?
How long are we gonna sit here in silence before somebody just makes a motion to make a recommendation? Pull that back.
Well,
up.
I really,
I'll do it right
I
now.
prefer not to make motions from this.
What'd you
end.
say, Miles?
Flip it up, flip over.
I will if I absolutely have to, but I prefer not to.
I mean, it's in general government.
We're making an
I mean,
increase.
it's general fund, so we can move it around. If we put 3 towards it and you wait and decide and see what the contract, if it's 2, we can move that 100,000 back in the
Somewhere
reserve.
else up
We're
there.
at that point.
That's it.
At least it's not different funds.
That would be recommended to let it, is that the 111, 348?
Yeah. That's total.
And that would give the 2% and everything else? Is that correct?
The way it is right now, yes.
I'll make a motion, scroll back down so I can have that number. That BET recommends $111,348,919 to the budget board for approval for the FY 21. Correct?
22.
Well, 22, thank you.
Miles, before you do that, let's
I thought we were
go
still
ahead.
just focusing on the 100,000.
Well,
Well, that's
I
fine.
thought we
Oh.
were talking about the 2%.
well,
Oh.
and that's, and you guys both encapsulated both of my concerns.
It's done with silence. We're gonna just put this on.
That was it, exactly. I mean,
No, let's get it.
I mean, I guess that includes the 2% and it
That's
keeps it at 200,000 for economic
and puts,
development.
it keeps the 100,000 on economic development and includes 2%. So I just did it all in one fell swoop.
Well, we kind of,
No, because we put the 100,000 on the watch list, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the 100,000 is on the watch list and the 2% increase would be on that number.
I mean,
Well, except for if you just say the 111,000 at 806,326 could be anywhere else in the budget.
yeah, we've
I
kind
mean,
of,
we're gonna balance no matter what.
we've kind of voted on everything else individually, so we.
Right.
I'm not voted, but.
Hey, he asked me what I was thinking.
You're trying
I
to
said
move forward.
I said I was tired of sitting here in silence. I'm ready to get this going.
Would you like to amend your motion to only include the 2%?
And whatever.
All right, let's go ahead and finish with the 2% and then we got,
Are we done with
We didn't get a
development?
second, so.
that
That's already
motion
on the
failed
watch
for the lack of a
list,
second.
I love efficiency. I love it. Because I'm getting hungry.
You should have been here Friday.
Right.
All right, is there a motion on the 2%?
I'll make a motion that we fund the 2% at $806,326.
Is there a second?
Second.
And that's not across the board, that's per department, it's up to each department.
Very things.
Discretionary. How they do that. Okay.
Got a motion and a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Any other items up there?
Now, can I make my $111 million motion?
We still have the DA contract that we've not decided on.
Real quick on the BET watch list, what's the total of that column? I'm missing some off the most recent one I got.
We can send that.
Send that to me and I'll help plug it in on the.
This needs a category, one of these 3 columns,
It needs a what?
one of those 3 column categories.
We need to recommend it, we need to watch list it, or we need to remove it. We need to E it, F it, or G it.
I'll make a motion that we have to
Okay, I was.
column F. I know what you're saying. Absolutely.
That's not what I meant. I was
I
saying
know.
column E, column F, column G.
And
That's-
he's voting
that's
for
what
column F.
I'm voting for column F. I'm making a motion for column F.
Usually whenever I say something like that, I do it on purpose. That time I did not do it on purpose.
Well, it worked out.
Okay, there's another one that died for like a second. So I'll quit making motions here.
Wait, are we really done?
No.
Was that really a motion?
Miles,
I'll
made
make
it.
a motion that we move the $52,382 for the increase in DA contract to the PET watch list,
I'll second.
which is column F.
Yeah, just for the record, it's better that you read it and said it. I'll second.
Because we were looking for some more information on that as well, right?
Russ said that the 52,382 was to fund
Support staff.
a support staff that they haven't had since last August, I believe, and an paid intern position they haven't had since March or May, one of the M months.
May.
What was their reason for not, I mean, when did they lose the support staff and the intern? Did they say, was it COVID related? Was, if you say March?
It's a great question.
That was the intern position. I don't know.
Well, I clearly seconded it because it just sounded like it needs more information. That's what we wanted.
Okay. Well, if we put it on there, we can have Russ come back and bring us a little more information. Rod, can you communicate that to Russ? Or
I'll take my life in my hands and communicate that to Russ. You guys wanna see one more time?
well, we're gonna put it on the watch list, and then
It would
at
be up to
some
him to
point
come,
we can,
yeah. We're not
we
gonna
can-
move it unless we.
yeah, we'll discuss it when he's ready with, I think Miles had some additional information that he needed to get from Friday.
So just out of curiosity, since we signed a contract, we'd have to amend the dollar amount in that contract and rerun the contract, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Because the contract has,
And
this
we
year's
did,
contract.
did we vote on that?
We had a motion
and
and a second.
But we did not vote.
Correct.
Okay, motion is second to add it to the watch list. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Anyway, are you saying that the contract was for 52,000 less or 52,000 more?
No, it's the 719 number. Yeah, they're
So-
asking for 52 on top of the
Okay.
719 number. Which is the same amount that they've had, 19, 20, and now 21.
So Carly, were you saying earlier for these to actually get on a watch list, not just call them in a spreadsheet, that you were needing a separate agenda item
Yeah, we'll have a
now?
separate agenda item on our
On
next
our next
meeting.
meeting.
Okay,
to
I'll
add
just
on
wait
to
and get
our-
it once we vote on that,
Yep.
to add it to it.
Okay.
I hate to put it on a watch list.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, because the other thing is, you know, some of these items, individual offices can put things on a budget board, so.
Sure.
They may not ever make it to the watch list. If the budget board takes it up and approves it,
Anything
then
else highlighted that
Gotcha.
we need to address?
So
I'll wait.
An Actually, by amending the assessor's reval, that's gonna change the revenue amount. So we will have an updated total on Thursday's budget board, so this, the difference is gonna go in reserve if it's okay with this group.
2%?
Yeah, because of the 2% we're adding will increase the amount that we will bill out for the reval budget.
Okay, that same 10% will roll over, increase that 2% portion.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll have the revenue item on Thursday's budget, the one that we looked at last week. And that'll be a different amount, so the bottom line will be different, but we'll add the difference in the reserve. If everybody's okay with that.
Does anybody have an issue with that?
Not at all.
And
Let's
we'll
go.
update that, we'll send it out to the group.
Let's go ahead and get a motion to recommend any increase in revenue from the 2% on the reval to add that to the reserve account. Somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Sounds good. Is there anything else? If not, let's move to item 16, discussion possible action, make a recommendation to Oklahoma County Budget Board from the budget evaluation team regarding the FY 21-22 supplemental appropriation. Miles, here's your chair.
No, let's just sit here in silence.
No, I found.
I was kidding about sitting here in silence.
You got a voice, use it.
I do. I use mine. I just use yours. I just wait for somebody else to.
Is he even gonna be able to tell us what the recommendations I told us that you're gonna test it?
Yeah, we can make a motion by that total with an update.
I'll make a motion that we approve, $111,348,919 for fiscal year F1, or fiscal year 21-22 with the update that we discussed.
The update, the
The
revenue
2%
for the
and
2%.
then moving it to reserve, yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I don't know.
All right, citizens participation. Any citizens wishing to participate? If not, board comments. District 2,
No, thank you.
District 3,
Nothing.
clerk, treasurer.
I would definitely like to thank Janice for sitting in those extra meetings last week when we talked about her and I both being out on Tuesday. I didn't know she'd get wrangled into a meeting, so I appreciate it very much.
Court clerk,
So thank you.
assessor,
No, thank you.
sheriff. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday, Janice.
Yeah, today. Or,
Is it today?
Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for all your help. Danny did a lot of work on this. Really appreciate it. Kelly, you as well. You guys really carried the water for us on this. Any new business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.
Jeez,
Thanks, guys.
a chair meeting, I should tell you.
Yeah. And you were gonna make her like
Where was it?
adjourn and she's like, I'm not doing that.
Birthday.
Well, I said today her birthday.